Hi, if you're watching this video, I can only assume it's because you just got a CAPO or you're considering getting one. So, congratulations, this is the next step in your guitar playing journey, and it's a big one. It's going to open up so many songs, it's going to be so much easier to play so many of them. So without further ado, let's get into using a CAPO. The function of a CAPO is very simple. All it does is it raises the note a half step for every fret you put it on. So, an E major with no capo is an E major, and then putting the capo on the first fret is going to raise it one half step. So in the musical alphabet, after E you get F, just like the normal alphabet. So our E major with the capo on the first fret and our whole chord shape will move up one fret along with the capo. So our chord shape is here now, is going to be an F major instead of an E major. So that's the same for every time you go up a fret. So let's just say we're on the second fret and our tab says to play G, C, and D with the capo on the second fret. So the capo actually changes the note that is being played, but tabs are usually user-friendly and will just say to use the chord shape of G, C, and D, and not actually those notes. So it says capo second fret, chord shape G, C, and D. So we put our capo here in the second fret, and we play G, C, and D like normal. The only difference is our chord shapes are going to move up with our capo. So normally, G of course is the third fret of the E. Good job for knowing that. I'm going to change everything you know, and with the capo it's actually going to be up here on the 5th fret, because you just add 2 frets to the 3 that we all know and love as G. Only because our capo is on the 2nd fret. So now here we're going to play G, C, and D with the capo on the 2nd fret, as if we were reading a tab. Of course, I'm sure you noticed that the capo raised the notes of the guitar. So our G is not actually a G. It's actually an A because, and yes, I had to count in my head, we raised it 2 half steps or 1 whole step from G to A. So if you take the capo off and we're playing G, C, and D, of course it's going to sound much lower like a normal G, C, and D. So without getting into too much music theory, that's the basics of a capo. We can go a little deeper now for our people that are interested. So, like I said, it's going to raise it a half step for every fret. We're going to stick with our G, C, and D example. G, with no capo, is G. With a capo on the 2nd fret, add 2 half steps. So G, G sharp, and then A. So now that's A, and we could actually play the same thing without the capo just by playing a normal A chord. So I'm sure you noticed that the A, so playing G with the capo on the 2nd fret sounds a little higher in tone because we have our higher notes there. That's kind of the benefit of using a capo, because a lot of times the same thing can be achieved without a capo just by playing different chord shapes. The good thing about a capo is it makes it easier to play the chords we're more familiar with. That's why I might even recommend one to a beginner player. Since you stuck with me this far, you get 3 pro tips from Not Such a Pro on using a capo. The first tip I can give you, there might be some debate on if you should use the capo here or here, and I would say do it closer to the fret bar. I'm going to demonstrate like this. So you can see it's not on the fret bar, but it is rather close to it, and I do that because, like I mentioned earlier, you're really trying to emulate the nut. That's what the capo does, and you might see them a little off kilter sometimes. I'm sure it was in my video a minute ago, and that's fine. Really, only an expert ear is probably going to hear the difference. I'm sure there's some, but for most just practical playing, it doesn't matter if it's a little off kilter. Of course, the straighter the better, and close to the fret, but not on it. So that's my tip on placement. Pro tip number 2 from Not Such a Pro: should I get a red or a black capo? Really, it's up to you. I like the red one. So do the ladies. No, but I do like the red capo just because it looks cool. That's totally up to you though. It's all user preference. The final tip is you might find an adjustable capo, and neither of these are. These are just fixed capos, and I don't have one to show you right here, but you might see it in future videos. It's somewhere else right now, but anyway, an adjustable capo is going to look, for lack of better terms, kind of like an upside down version of this. So while this is fixed, the adjustable one has got a little spinny part that you spin, again, lack of better terms, and you might even see them labeled either adjustable or 6-string / 12-string capo. I would say you might want to use one of those if you're playing a 12-string and you didn't have, or you couldn't find an actual just 12-string capo, because you can make it a little looser to go around the wider neck of a 12-string. On a 6-string guitar, I do by large prefer just a normal capo, mostly because I don't like messing with the adjustment you have to do on those adjustable ones to get it back down to 6-string after playing on a 12-string. So they're cheap enough. I would say just get one of these for your 6-string. And if you have a 12-string, you might invest in an adjustable one, because these do have a heck of a time getting around a 12-string neck. So thank you guys very much for watching my videos. Those are your 3 pro tips and your whole tutorial on the basics of using a capo. I hope it was easy to understand, and I hope it helped you a lot. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe.